Hello everyone, and welcome to my video where I talk about my 2025 predictions. Now, initially I wasn't going to post anything about it, but this is such a pivotal year that I think it's really important that we do talk about it and that we do highlight quite a few things. And I'm also going to talk about what my suggestions are on how to best utilize the energies of 2025 onwards. So this is a very special year, and it's a little bit more complicated because this is a year where we start a new cycle. And so things that I might pick up on, they're not necessarily some things that just happened for 2025. They're things that basically sort of start happening in 2025 and go for a period and develop over a period of time. So that's why I wanted to make this video where I actually don't just write a list, I actually elaborate in more detail. And hopefully it helps you guys. So, 2025, some say that this is the end of the Kali Yuga cycle. There are some Vedic researchers and astrologers that fully support this, and there's others that don't. So, I'm not going to force that belief on anyone, but I do believe that that is accurate. But that's just my personal opinion. I think that the first period of time that is going to be more together is probably 2025 to 2027, and then I think from 2027 to around 2030 that's going to be a different type of shift that occurs then. But there will be different shifts that happen throughout this year though as well, which I am going to highlight. The first thing I'm going to highlight is around March and April there will be a massive collective shift. Now, timelines shift all the time. They're infinite. You can change them almost instantly, to be honest, depending on the journey and the decisions that that person makes. So that's why some people don't like the word predictions, because everything can change. Everything is constantly moving. Everything is constantly expanding. The difference about the timeline that I'm talking about, this timeline split that happens during this March-April shift, is more of a collective timeline shift. So there's different types of timeline shifts that can occur. When they are a collective one, it can impact that collective consciousness in a different way. So the things that I explain in this video, they're going to happen differently to different individuals. And you can say, okay, yeah, all right, well, that's just life, isn't it? Yes, that is true. However, your vibrational resonance is going to determine which timeline you go on. Yes, that is always the case as well. It always comes down to your vibration that you are currently existing at. But it is going to split reality in a way where it's almost going to be experienced by a certain percentage people in a certain way, and then the other percentage of people in a very different way on a collective level. Now, I've never seen this before in my lifetime. I've never seen it before, and I've never experienced before. I think that this is something very, very exciting. And I think that for people who are quite spiritual and are at a certain level in their journey, this is almost a spiritual year of mastery for some people. So you're going to probably experience a shift away from certain habits, certain lifestyle factors, certain friendship groups or relationships and interests and all of that type of thing due to this particular collective shift. And the more authentic you are, or the more you yearn to be authentic, the more this is going to benefit you, because it's going to allow you to step more into your own power that comes with being authentic as possible. And authenticity is also a journey, I think, of not killing the ego. I don't believe in that at all, but more so not letting the ego navigate your narrative, or what you identify with necessarily, which is largely through programming and different influences that we have experienced in our lifetime. So returning to more of a heart-centered, a genuine heart-centered way of being, which allows us to grasp unity consciousness and embody that on a whole new level. Which is amazing that we're finally, I think, at a stage of our growth at this point in time. It leads to greater opportunity, greater healing, and greater manifestation of joy within the collective consciousness. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is major earth movements. I just have been pretty much picking this up on, for anyone who follows me knows that I've been talking about this for probably about 6 months, that it's just a very large energy that keeps coming up. Now, I don't know if this means major earth movement means earthquakes, volcanoes, or potentially a revealing of land. I don't know what that means, but that is what I picked up. There's some type of major earth movement, not just in one region, but one region I have picked up quite a lot on. Well, two particular reasons are Asia and California. California is something that has been very strong for the past year in regards to earth movement. But again, this could be earthquakes, this could be volcanoes, this could be land revealing. And so make that what you will. I don't entirely understand it, but that is the strongest energy that came through, was earth movement. The next thing I'm going to move on to, which is this is a little bit it's rapid growth in technology and AI. Now, I have friends that work in this industry, and they've been saying to me for a long time, it's nowhere near what you think. It's not anything to fear. And I'm definitely not saying it's anything to fear. I just definitely know that due to this cycle that we have just entered, things are going to rapidly expand in a way that we have never seen before. So I think back in the day, if you could go back about 20 years, technology sort of gradually developed in a certain way that's digestible, and it's like allowing a period of time to adjust more on a gradual basis. This is going to be different. This is going to be integrated like never seen before. Industries are going to change so quickly. And I used to be super against AI because of the transhumanism movement of integrating AI into the human physical body, which I was always against because I support the evolution of consciousness in a very organic way. And I've always supported humans empowering themselves through their own organic technology, which they already embody. And I was scared that the integration of AI or technology or non-organic substances into the human body would threaten the natural development and the natural power that humans already harness within their own vessels and with their own consciousness and their own multi-dimensional selves. So that is what I support, and I was definitely threatened by it. From what I understand now about the timelines is that this is inevitable, the integration of AI, but we do have a choice. on how we go about it. So I have definitely decided to go, okay, so it's going to happen regardless. It can be very beneficial, but we must develop the right relationship with it. Okay, so you are going to see people in power abuse this. They are going to obviously see profit as the main agenda, and they're going to make you try to overly rely on something when you don't actually need to, because it is something you can pretty much switch on within yourself if you are able to manifest or activate yourself, which humans will see you can do in the future. So let's be accepting of it, but let's build a good relationship with it, because that is going to be vital, I think, on how this industry develops and how our world runs and who's involved in running it. And I want us to take our power back, and I want us to step into unity consciousness, which is very important. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to move on to is, I just have my list down here. This is the year that you really want to take leaps of faith. If you really want to manifest a high timeline, or you really want to fulfill your potential, this is the year to kind of just do it. If you've had something that's been calling to you for a really long time and it feels so genuine and so organic to you, I would pursue it, or try to invest more into it, incorporate it more into your life. It's really going to be beneficial for you with how the energies are running. Get on that wave and ride it. Very important this year to do that. And again, I mentioned earlier, for people of a certain vibrational resonance who have a certain spiritual journey, this is a mastery year for you. The spiritual maturity that can come with the growth of this year is priceless. It would really help an individual's journey towards unity consciousness and future leadership of a new earth. And for me, that's really beautiful. So if you feel very called to infrastructures and leadership, this is a time in your own stillness, in your own meditation, to really call to that. And there's something that you can do, guys, which I'll have to make another separate video on, but it's calling and working with the unified field, which you're a part of, which is within you, which is limitless in many ways. You can more consciously, if you have reached that stage of spiritual maturity, you can now learn to merge with it more consciously. Yes, all of these things are within you at all times. Yes, your higher self is always there for you at all times, but there reaches a stage where you can consciously utilize these things and integrate them in a much more conscious way, where you are actively making choices that fulfill the highest potential of that relationship. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about, it's also a year of sovereignty and self-love. I mean, this is so important. Centering yourself and having self-love is probably the key to reaching your highest potential and manifesting on that higher timeline. It's self-love, and you cannot fake it. You cannot fake it. You vibrationally cannot fake it. So let go of whatever is presenting itself to you that's not in alignment anymore. And that might try and play some mind games with you, but turn that off and let it be a frequency thing. Let it be a vibrational language that you start to learn, because some things are just going to have to fall away to make new space for higher energy, and that process might suck. You might go through a dark night of the soul. It might hurt. You might have dreams where you lose things, or you're scared of people losing your materialistic things that you have an attachment to, which leads me on to my next point, by the way, which is the collective relationship with materialism, and also the relationship that we have, I think, with the whole idea of celebrity worship and I think certain types of elitism and grandeur and wealth. I think that you're really going to have a percentage of people which kind of pull away and are not so attracted to that anymore. They're going to really start to crave authenticity, or that type of vibrational energy where that self-love is going to really evoke organic type of emotions and feelings and just ways of being. I think a lot of the narrative, the very fake narrative, or the very superficial narrative is definitely going to have a shift, but it's going to be a percentage of the collective that kind of go through this shift. Again, not everyone is going to manifest the same timeline. It is what it is. But let go of anything that doesn't serve that anymore and make space. Be centered. And conscious breathing is one of the other things I highly, 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 highly recommend. If you have studied Kriya Yoga, there's actually many, many forms of different types of conscious breathing. Just do whatever resonates with you. Qigong, all these little things you can do. You can really just go on YouTube and you can just research something which shows you basic conscious breathing, and then naturally your higher self is probably going to kick in, and it's probably going to show you what resonates best with you. And that's what's really important. I don't think it's about following someone else's formula necessarily, because there is never one formula. There's just different things that resonate with different people, and that's like why we have color. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's just different ways to do things. This vessel of technology, this body that we're in, is so incredible and so powerful that we can utilize it in many different ways. It's honestly just so inspiring to think about this beautiful body that we have, and knowing that we've only just tapped into a little bit of its potential. Okay. Next thing is a major energy that is going to probably be this, other than self-love and authenticity and the heart centering, the other predominant theme for 2025 is going to be, do you live from love or fear? Truly, which one do you really sit with? And I tell you what, you're not going to be able to hide that this year. That is really going to come into fruition. So with all of the events that happen in the world, right? Because there's going to be a lot of events and a hell of a lot of distractions, mind you. It's almost going to test you to see if you come from that loving centeredness of the divine, or if you come from fear base. Now, if you are coming from a fear base, that is going to probably dictate the timeline that you really manifest. And that again is going to represent those two shifts of where people are at in their vibrational growth and journey. And no one is higher than the other. That doesn't exist. We are all one. We are all connected. No matter what your ego thinks, or your third dimensional personality of your fractal here in this dimension thinks. We are all one at the end of the day, and we are all source energy here, just having an experience. It's just that individual, that fractal, is just experiencing something at a different time, and we're all at different levels of growth, pretty much all walking each other home. So, but we're home the whole time. But do you know what I mean? Like, as a fragmentation of a fractal. So, other things that I do see happening are definitely states of chaos that are going to happen, whether it's politically, whether it is war like, and whether it is, you know, financial and economical. You are definitely going to see a lot of things happen this year. But to be honest, I don't think those things are important. Back in the day, and I love geopolitics, it's something I've been very, very drawn to in my lifetime. But if you overly consume that energy, it's going to impact what timeline you manifest. And so I've had to learn to kind of move back away, step away from feeding that energy so much. And a lot of people are like, don't be all love and light. Don't be all, toxic positivity. I'm not encouraging that at all. I'm encouraging you to face the shadow as much as possible, but to overcome it and transcend it, and to make room for more light within you. That's all. I definitely don't believe in avoidant type of spiritual work. I know there's a lot of that in the New Age community, and I don't consider myself a part of that particular message at all. I am definitely I support empowering authenticity. I support empowering the journey of multidimensionality and the higher self being your greatest guide, and not relying on anyone else or anything outside of yourself to really dictate that. However, I'm also not saying that you don't need things externally and you don't need help and support externally. Those things are all part of the human experience. It's just that everything is within, in the sense of knowing what you really are and who you really are and what you have access to within yourself. It's so beautiful. Humans are an amazing thing. Having this experience is an amazing thing. So, do I think that, let's get into some of the more superficial things, I guess you could say. Do I think there is going to be a World War III that breaks out in 2025? No, I don't. Do I think some escalation could happen? Yes, I do. But I think, again, this is going to be something that maybe towards 2027 manifests to a greater degree. But we have the choice now to make certain decisions which can help influence what happens at that stage of the timeline. Do I think Trump's inauguration or his presidency is going to be interfered with? Absolutely. Absolutely. And it from a very early stage. In fact, his life will probably be in danger majority of the time, like no other president, I think, before, at least in this more modern day era. I think that they will try to take him out. I'm neutral. I'm not American. He's not my president, and I don't support any presidency or government system. So I don't have a personal opinion on that, and I'm not drawn to any particular leader. But one other thing I do want to say about leadership and politics is that you are going to see systems fall. Okay, you are going to see old paradigm structures fall, and it's going to scare the shit out of people around you. And that's where that love or fear-based response is going to come out. It is going to bring out the truth. How much you freak out, that is going to determine things. Because when extraterrestrials do have a disclosure, which you don't even need a disclosure from your government, something you can pretty much access through your own consciousness and multidimensional self at any time, and you can initiate your own contact, actually. when that eventually does happen on a collective level, how are you going to respond? Are you going to act with love or fear? And if you do want it to happen, then embody a much more high vibrational state of love, because you could also initiate it on a collective level, even more so if that is what you really want to happen to this reality, and if you do want that more collective intervention happening from them. And this is also reminds me, in the spiritual community, not just in the spiritual community, but on a I think on a wider level, people are going to realize that people who shift into a high timeline, they're going to crave, or they're going to naturally be drawn to higher vibrational leadership. That's who's going to qualify to them in regards to respect, or their final thoughts about that individual. It is going to be how they resonate and what the principles that come with higher vibrational leadership. It's going to be very natural, by the way. Humans respond to higher vibrational leadership in a way that they don't even understand and they can't comprehend yet. It is a very natural thing that happens within the collective. So you're going to see people like that rise up and step up. And especially in the spiritual communities, you are going to see a massive shift from a lot of fake, or not fake, but more, actually the way to put this is, you're going to see a shift in true leadership, because you're going to be able to see who truly embodies a certain vibration, who truly embodies that leadership of true resonance, and then you're going to see other people from before, even though they might be pioneers within this kind of community or research, they're going to be more so researchers. Doesn't mean they weren't genuine in their journey, but they're not necessarily holding a certain vibration. They're not embodying the true abilities and the levels of awareness that come with holding a certain vibration and frequency. You are really going to start to see that's going to become a lot more obvious, and you may be very disappointed with some of the things that you witness or experience, unfortunately. And that's something that I've already started experiencing, but it's going to become a lot more obvious. Do I think certain parts of the planet are going to be in more danger in 2025 onwards? Yeah, definitely. And this is really due to so many factors that it's kind of hard to explain. It has to do with certain portals that are on the planet. It's got to do with ancestral energy that's there, and massive karmic energy in those regions of the world. And lastly, where they're situated in regards to Gaia's own weak points or power points within her. So if there's going to be volcanoes in certain areas, a certain tectonic move, like it's going to come down to Gaia's organic natural structure, where certain things happen, and how energy, her own energy mixed with our collective energy, pretty much gets released. Because everything is energetic at the end of the day. Everything. I don't give a fuck what anybody says who does not understand higher awareness. Okay? If you are not embodying certain things, or you are not embodying certain abilities, I'm only going to take what that person says on a certain level as well. Because that is the shift now in how reality is going to change for us. Telepathy is a really big thing that seems to be a major collective focal point at the moment. Maybe not quite yet, but going forward, the things that you don't consider to be normal, they're going to shift in the years ahead, because everything's going to happen so quickly. But again, it's going to depend on the timeline that you manifest. So remember, March, April, there is a massive timeline shift that happens. There are a few different planetary alignments which will impact the collective energies in certain ways. And there'll be another one around June and July, and then again in September. I know a lot of people find this year ominous in many ways, and they're kind of scared of it. I am dead set excited. Dead set excited. There is going to be amazing things that can happen, and I encourage you, what you feel vibrationally drawn to this year, do it. If you feel vibrationally drawn to wearing certain colors, doing certain activities, meditating, listening to certain music, feeling like you want to change your friendship groups, or if you have an interest in learning something or studying something, do it. Honor your soul in a way where you are listening without the noise, where you are listening to who you really are without this narrative that's created in your head by yourself, by society, by your family's programming, by your culture's programming. None of that stuff matters in the end. What really matters is you and source energy at the end of the day. Nourish that relationship and know that your higher self is the greatest love of your life, and actively and consciously seeking it and merging with it and having the third dimensional fractal's will align with the higher self's will is like a superpower combination that you can have. And it is going to have the best intentions for you, because it is you. It's just a high resonating aspect of yourself, and it's going to give you greater clarity, greater direction, greater love, greater awareness. So seek that in all things. It is the love of your life, and I'm serious. More over the love of your parents, more over the love of your partner, more over the love of your children. And a lot of people don't like hearing that. But trust me, seeking the love and bonding with the love of your higher self is going to make your parenting and your relationship with your children tenfold even more beautiful than it already probably is. Because it is going to integrate such a higher vibration within you. It is the greatest thing that will affect any of the relationships around you. It's your vibration. And I really should make a separate video on these things, but I'm very excited to announce that this is the year that that my platform is really going to grow. And I'm super excited. This is just my absolute life passion. It has been, and you know, I avoided it for many years because I was scared of really dedicating myself to something like this. Not because I didn't know that this was what I really wanted to do, but there were other options that just made more logical sense. Or, you know, I wasn't sure about other people in the communities and what this would sort of gravitate or open up. And I kind of was very comfortable in my own solitude, just minding my own business, doing my own energy work and so forth. But again, I want to be an example of going forward with these energies and just doing it and going full throttle with it in absolute love, and just seeing whatever, you know, unfolds, you know, from it. So I'm wishing you guys all the best, but remember, centering yourself regularly, daily, and I will make a video on how to raise your frequency, like actually raise it more consciously, how to practice those things so you have the ability to do it much more at will. Practice makes perfect. Conscious breathing, and movement. Conscious breathing, I'm serious. If you can really get and nail the conscious breathing thing, if you practice that and you commit to that, like this year and the years ahead, the doors that you are going to open up for yourself, wow. And I'm just so excited to hear the stories from people down the track who have committed to that. That is the golden key to things ahead. So centering yourself, having that heart energy. Keep the heart open. Do not get distracted by all of the things that are going to play out, because it is a real year of intensity, okay? But intensity goes both ways. You can make it work in your favor like an alchemist, or you can let it get the best of you. But I highly encourage in the potential that you have, like in believing in it. I absolutely believe in you. Every single person here has the ability to consciously work with their own energy, with divine energies, with higher energies, with the unified field. You can integrate that and you can become your own master of that in this life, and it will enrich your life on so many levels that you didn't think possible. A year of sovereignty, okay, guys? In here, this is what matters. In here, there will be a financial global change that will happen in the years ahead too, guys. I almost forgot to mention that. There will be a massive shift where we do go into the cryptocurrencies and digital currencies. That is not going to stop. So research about it now, invest in it now. There's most likely going to be a global currency that does birth from this, but you are definitely going to see major changes in the financial world going forward, and definitely restructuring of the planet and countries and alliances. These things are going to shift in the years ahead. And there is a lot more. If I could really go into probably 2027 to 2030, there is a lot more, but there's a lot to focus on right now, so I don't want to jump into that. But try to find joy within yourselves, guys. You are the only thing you have here. Truly, you have to live with yourself. You have to be your own best friend. Love yourself. You are so great and so powerful, and you are made of the divine. That is what you are made of. In every cell in your body, every atom that exists in this universe, you are a fractal of the highest energy source in existence. You can access that, but access it for the serving of others and the collective, because that includes yourself in it anyway. And the karmic cycles are much better than self-service, I can tell you that. So, not service to self, service to others, okay? The more you grow in unity consciousness, the more that you evolve as a soul here, that's all you're gonna want to do. You're just constantly going to be thinking about the journey towards unity consciousness and embodying that here and sharing it and being so full of such higher energy that you're no longer scared to give it. You know what I mean? Like, obviously boundaries are always a thing that you're going to have in this reality, but you're just going to be so full of light that you're going to naturally feel like that's just what you want to share. You know, not to give it away and lose it, but be able to power up in a way where you're just naturally going to light other people up. Like, your frequency is just going to naturally dial it up, and you can all have a dialed up experience from sharing your energy in a beautiful exchange. So yeah, I think that's all I'm going to do. This was a very different kind of prediction video because I didn't want to make a fear-mongering video. I wanted you to know that you have two options. You have, well, you have more than two options, but you have the choice to come from love or from fear. Which one are you going to choose? Which one is going to dictate the timeline that you manifest and keep walking towards? It's up to you to decide. No one else can decide that. And that's going to come from that heart centering and that absolute self-love, and just letting go of what no longer resonates with you anymore. Do not be afraid of the changes that come ahead. Think of the new earth, think of the new structures and the new leadership, and embody as much higher energy as you possibly can with love.